Hi, everyone, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 11 of High Scores, High Stakes, the podcast that thinks it's good, but it hasn't yet made its final form. I'm your host, as always, Mr. Luvva, and with me is my co host.
Good evening, lover. How are we today? It feels
Good.
weird having this week off, but I'm still tired. What's that all about?
I know. It doesn't get easier. Weekly podcast, and don't let anyone tell you it's easy because it is not easy.
It's with our shining mugs here, making it look good fun. But no, the burnout I think was real for everyone the last week or so. We still managed to get a game of the month episode out, but sure, what do you do? You need
we
a break
got
eventually.
we got something out, and that's the main thing. As long as we just keep on getting them out there, then
That's it.
it's all good. So it is. And speaking of things that are all good, I'm going to tell the audience just what this is
Ooh.
and why they should listen to it and what makes High Scores High Stakes so good. High Scores High Stakes for new listeners is usually four friends competing with each other in a league table in PlayStation gaming challenges. Each week we pick a new game and we play a challenge on that game, and we are competing in a league. The winner of the weekly challenge gets 3 points, second place gets 2 points, third place gets 1 point, and last place gets 0 points. The league, as we go into our penultimate episode of season 3, is this. In fourth place with 40 points is Mr. John Sherry. In third place on 58 points is Cardinal Smith. In second place on 61 points is me, Mr. Lava. And in first place, leading the way for the first time this season, is Tomahawk, who is currently on 62
Ooh,
points.
yeah. History's repeating itself.
Well, so far, so far. For those uninitiated, what Tom is referring to is season 1 of High Scores, High Stakes, where I think you led the way for. Well, you led the way for a few weeks, and then I took over 3 weeks before the end. Cardinal Smith took the top spot and then won the last three challenges to take home the title. Season 3 has mirrored that somewhat, where I have led the way from week 1, or week 2, sorry, and last week, 3 games from the end, Tomahawk has overtaken me. So is history going to repeat itself, or can I put a stop to history? As they say, those who fail to study history are doomed to repeat it. I will not be repeating season 1's mistakes. That is absolutely not. This week's challenge game is a good one. It is Dragonball Fighter Z. And what we're doing this week is we are doing a winner stays on. First to 5 wins takes it all. But it is not time to discuss our challenge game. Not just yet. We have to get some housekeeping out of the way first. Tomahawk.
Let's do
Um,
it.
First things first. If you like this podcast, if you've listened to a few episodes, go, you know what? I wish I could get more content from these lads. Well, you can. Direct your browser to highscoreshighstakes.com, and along the top of the screen, you'll see a load of icons for our social media. You'll find links to Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Discord, and YouTube. Make sure you click it, make sure you check them out, and hit us up with a follow on all those social medias to get as much high scores, high stakes content as you possibly can. Especially YouTube. Pay attention to YouTube. Every week, Cardinal Smith is putting up very abridged versions of our season long challenge, which is, of course, Civilization 6. We are playing a maximum 500 move game of Civ 6. And things are getting
Heating up
exciting and dramatic. So if you want
big
to know
time. Heating
what's
up.
going on, who's winning that challenge, get yourself over to highscoreshighstakes.com, click that YouTube button, and watch the Civilization 6 playlist. And hit us a sub right over there. And speaking of hitting us up with subs, if you're listening to this on Spotify or any other podcast platform, or if you're watching the video format on YouTube, hit us up with a like, a follow, or a subscribe wherever it is you're watching or listening. If you've done that, hit us up with a review with a star value of whatever you think we are worth. And if you have done both of those, but you haven't yet shared the podcast with friends or family, make sure you do that as well. Let us continue to grow this growing high scores, high stakes
Yes.
community. It is indeed growing. And with all of the house, no, not quite yet. Actually, we have the question of the week and the poll of the week to cover.
That's right. Yes.
Question of the week from 2 weeks ago now, because of obviously we had a lot of issues last week getting out our regularly scheduled episode, was for Need for Speed Unbound. The question of the week was, what is the best Need for Speed sub-series? And the winner of that one was Need for Speed Underground.
I mean, it's correct. Absolutely
And
correct.
I think that might be the correct answer. Absolutely. Need for Speed 1, Need for Speed Underground 1 is great. Need for Speed 2, Need for Speed Underground 2, sorry. I know it gets a lot of love. Like, it is the probably the most loved Need for Speed online if you go with Discourse Online. I don't think I agree with that. I think Need for Speed Underground 1 is the undisputed GOAT of the franchise.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I have a real soft spot for Need for Speed Rivals,
Okay, yeah.
but there is something to be said about Need for Speed as like this street racer that I think we particularly would sort of know and love, and it was the purest, I think, of the genre, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was like a dad on Twitter also picked Need for Speed Underground as his favorite sort of subgenre. And I think he said something along the lines of, Need for Speed Underground is the GOAT, especially when you consider how big Fast and Furious was back when it released. And
Exactly,
everyone
yeah.
got drew into the hype. Need for Speed Underground is definitely Fast and Furious 2, Too Fast, Too Furious, the video game, isn't it?
No, that's it, yeah, as well, because it was like just the stars aligned however it was when it was released, and obviously the franchises had to mature and evolve with it, like, but
Mm-hmm.
um that street racer vibe is what it's known and loved for, like, and I think they have lost their way on it a little bit, but yeah, no, I
Yeah.
think Underground, and then if not, Rivals is a close second for me personally.
Yeah, I think for me, my second would be Most Wanted. So it would
Very
be.
good.
I think so. I think so anyway. And our poll of the week was something similar, and it was I think it was what was the best Need for Speed sub series? I think we had Most Wanted, Underground, or just Need for Speed in general. Underground won, rightfully so. So congratulations this week, listeners. You have picked the right choices. We will have a question of the week and a poll of the week for this week's episode, but we will give you that at the end of the episode. So make sure you stay right till the end so you can take part in the polls and question of the week. If you're unsure where to find them, just scroll down. If you're on Spotify, they're there. They're just right there. There's very little work in it for you. And with all that being done, speaking of games, Tomahawk, please tell me, what are you playing?
I've been playing too much this last fortnight. I'm kind of at this weird impasse where I'm playing too much and
Okay.
not enough of the games that I am playing. So I'm playing Fallout Shelter at the minute, just as a click and kills a few minutes while I decide on what I'm actually playing.
Mhm.
Uh, More recently, I have landed on Pacific Drive. It was on sale. I decided to pick it up and just sort of give it a go. It's not really something that's in my wheelhouse typically.
Mhm.
I really like it. I like this. I'm starting to come into this appreciation for resource hunting and resource management games these days.
So, what is the? I mean, I think I can presume what the premise is going to be for Pacific Drive, but what is the premise of that game?
So, no, it doesn't give an awful lot away. A lot of it is like a text crawl of the government seals off a section of the Pacific coast, and
Hmm.
then over the years, just gradually that gets more and more secluded. It then cuts to you as a delivery driver,
Right.
going around the border, the edges of the map, and then you're hit with this anomaly. Essentially, you're then warped into the smack into the middle of this isolation zone,
Mm-hmm.
and then all you hear is this radio chirping away. You get in the station wagon, and the radio is like, "Oh my God, we have an outsider. Like, let's keep him alive." It's got a very Bioshock kind of feel. You're just thrown
Okay.
into an NPC who just guides you through the world, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And for the long and short of it, you basically just have to resource hunt, fortify your vehicle, pretty much figure out how to get you out of the exclusion zone. It's quite cool. It
Okay.
has this like air. It has this like air of mystery to it, and I constantly am like living in dread that someone's gonna just like nab me from the car and completely like just decimate me. So it's cool, but has this. I've got this sense of unease. Whether or not that's gonna come into fruition or not is to be seen yet.
Is
But
it
really,
a
really love it. It looks great.
is it a roguelike? If you die, is that it?
Seems to be. I actually don't really know how to describe it. It just seems to be like a survival kind of game,
Okay.
really.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But it's been early doors. It's only been like a couple of hours played on it, so I'm kind of just finding the mechanics are so like everything. You have to do everything at once, really. If you're not driving, you have to do your gear shifts. You have to put the car in the put the handbrake on. You have to turn the ignition off to save fuel. You have to put the high beams on, the wipers on. You have to look at the map where you're going. It's so busy,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that is as a real life sim
Okay.
gets really.
Well, with zombies.
With maybe who knows, but it's
So
cool. It's cool. It's just hooked me in, and I thought, yeah, go for it. It's something you don't usually play, so broaden the horizons a little bit.
yeah, why not? Absolutely. Would you recommend it? Yeah, good.
Yeah, yeah. It plays really nice. It looks gorgeous.
Yeah, the art style's amazing on it.
Can't beat it. Like it's a gripping enough of a story without having give you too much too soon.
Mm-hmm. Nice,
Perfect.
nice, nice. Anything else you want to talk about? You've been playing? You say you've been playing a lot.
Uh, Neo a little bit chipped away at a few more level. The less said on that, the better. It's actually painful, but you can catch all that on Twitch.
You can.
The High Scores High Stakes Twitch channel is I think at least if I can get once a week on that, then I'm happy enough. A couple of hours, could put it in the bottom of the pile until then.
Yes. What's the death count at? Do you know?
We are 90,
Oh dear.
91.
Oh
We
dear.
ticked over to 91.
Incredible scenes. What a game.
It's so good though. It is so good, and it just is forcing me to learn a Souls like in a different way
Yeah.
than Bloodborne, Dark Souls, anything like that ever could have prepped before. But other than that, yeah, nothing else really of merit or worth discussing. I think anyway, it's a lot of just micro gaming at the minute just to kill some time.
Yeah, yeah. I'm much the same. I don't think I've really plowed that much time into a single game in the last couple of weeks because it has been really, really, really busy on my side of things too. Like, I have been playing minute amount of each game, so I don't have
Yeah.
much to talk about. So obviously, I mean, logging into GT7 regularly enough to do the weekly sort of time trials for credits.
Okay, yeah.
They're quick, they're easy. You get good credits out of them. I do recommend if you are listening to this and you play GT7 and you don't do the weekly speed trials, get on them. You can get 1,000,000 credits in about 2 minutes. You just have to wait a week to get your rewards. So you do. I think this week's one's worth 2,000,000 if you're finished with a
All right,
gold
okay.
medal. If you finish with a gold, it's 2,000,000. I think the last couple I've got silver, so I've only got 1,000,000, but still 1,000,000 credits is not to be sniffed at.
Yeah, that's quite a high progression, quite good to be fair. It's one I need to sort of start putting more man hours into. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we'll get there.
Yes,
That's for the
yes,
off season.
yeah. Other than that, I've been playing the Art of Rally. It's probably my most played game. Still absolutely loving it. It's brilliant. I'm on Class B rallies now, so
Oh, class, yeah.
it's like the single player in this is like you go through the history of rally, and every sort of season's talking about what rule changes there was. So I'm up to the 80s where they removed the upper limit in brake horsepower in the cars. So all of a
Oh,
sudden
okay.
I'm driving these cars that are 400 or 500 brake horsepower, and it's really, really, really difficult now. But it's
That's cool. That's quite a nice way to do it, really. As opposed to just here's a different driver class, go through
yeah,
the actual like the rules and regs and stuff like that. That's an interesting take on it.
yeah. It kind of reminds me of like Gran Turismo, the way Gran Turismo sets itself up as well. Gran Turismo loves the whole look at the history of this manufacturer type, that sort of way.
Yeah, yeah,
Once you start doing menus in GT7, you will know what I'm talking about. Uh, beyond that, just Tomb Raider, the remastered collection. Still, that game gets really difficult to about 2/3 of the way through it. It
yeah. All right,
becomes
okay.
so every level becomes super long and quite difficult. I soft locked myself in level 8, which was
Oh no.
unpleasant. Thankfully, I knew you could soft lock when you get to level 8, so I doubled up the save. So within, I just had to go back to start the level. Um, not too sure how or why it soft locked, but it did. Um, I need to look into why that happened so I can avoid it the second time
Aye, that's it.
around.
Yes.
So I'm gonna have to duplicate my save just in case it happens again. But beyond that, I've just been dipping in and out of lots and lots of games, pinball effects and stuff like that, but like literally playing them for 10, 15 minutes, skip and then having to turn it off for whatever reason, work or family or whatever it is. I've
Yeah,
been,
yeah. No, that's always the way.
yes, super, super busy. That is it. I feel like I haven't really added much to the intro of this episode at all, but here we are. Here we are. I feel like if you want value for money on what Luvva is playing, just listen to any other episode because usually it's way more in depth than that, but it's just not tonight. It is just not tonight. But with all that being done, I think this might be our quickest intro since episode 1.
Yes, quite possible. I think it's because Cardinal isn't here obviously tonight
Yeah.
to discuss at great length the minutiae of a 90-minute boss fight in Final Fantasy. So
Yes,
that
yes,
saved
yes.
us a couple of minutes at least as well.
Without Cardinal talking about Final Fantasy for 6 or 7 weeks on the bounce, but yes, obviously there is no Cardinal this week. Obviously, there's no Sherry. So that means there's no Name That Game this week. But Name That Game will return in the finale next week, and it will be double points. I think
Double
Cardinal said
points,
yes,
yes.
double points. So the scores in that Tomahawk, just because you might be reminding about how
I'd rather not,
much
but
destruction has been rained upon your very soul this season. The scores right now in Name That Game are 14-7 to me. So
that's
you name
yeah,
all
it's pretty
three
bad.
next week, you're winning it. You're winning it.
No,
All I need
yeah,
to
no
do,
pressure.
all I have to do is name one. That is it. And there hasn't been a week this season where I haven't named any of the games.
This
So
is very true. It's been I think this time around actually having switched host, it's been humbling this time around. I can't wait to host it myself this time. Like just to see it'll just be utter destruction and carnage on Cardinals' side anyway. But I can't wait to just take a step back and just go looking for
yeah, it
reviews.
it is a lot more difficult when you're not the one reading the reviews. I will say that much. There's so many times you're like, "Oh, I know what game this is, but I can't remember the name of that game."
Brilliant.
And that
I have a
may
few ideas. I have a
that
few
may be
ideas for this one.
excellent. Excellent. I look forward to it. One other thing I'm looking forward to is watching the challenge game this week, Dragonball Fighter Z. So let's get there now. So here we are already at the challenge game. Short, succinct, to the point. I love this. Things that aren't short, sweet, and to the point is Dragon Ball Z, the anime series. Which, in our research for this Tomahawk, definitely didn't just happen whilst we took a break from the record at all. Apparently came on TV in 1989.
Wouldn't be like us.
And and ran for the guts of 300 episodes over 7 years. That, that is insane. I mean, I'm not surprised. Anime, manga love having like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of like issues or episodes. I'm not gonna lie. I have, apart from the intro sequence, I have never seen a single second of Dragon Ball Z.
Really?
I have no knowledge of it. The only two things I know about it are the cartoon theme and that McFly did a cover of the theme for one of the movies, I do believe.
Oh, yes, yes. The live action movie that got absolutely
Oh,
panned.
there's a live action what?
Oh, yes, yes. So the whole my my people who were
Yes.
like Dragon Ball Z, still remember it was very much like the 4 o'clock rush home from school, 4 o'clock. Dragon Ball Z ran for a double, so they ran for the 2 half-hour slots,
Mm-hmm.
and the next day would basically be, did you watch it? And then you would go and repeat the cycle again. Um, so it ran for seemingly forever, and it would
Mm-hmm.
just get to a point where then the broadcaster, Cartoon Network, I think it was at the time, would just get to a point and then go, do you know what we're going to do? We're going to throw everything back to the very start, and you're just going to
Oh,
watch it all again.
nightmare.
so
Nightmare. So you did.
so we did
And
exactly, yeah.
to this day, you still have no idea of how it ends. If it
I
even ends.
like yeah, you say that, and then they go and make more towards like the mid late 90s, and then it was only till like 2015 they made a newer series that decanonized everything that they had done
Up until
in
that
the
point.
basically, and all the
Incredible.
movies that they had done as well to tie in were just gone, stricken from the record, basically.
Incredible
Or as
scenes.
they like to say, took place in another universe, quote unquote.
You
so
gotta love it.
it shows like it's Japan, it's anime, it's all levels of bonkers and nuts.
Right. Before we go any further,
Okay.
I have so many questions about Dragon Ball Z, but why are we talking about Dragon Ball Z, the anime series,
It's all
on a
good context.
PlayStation gaming podcast? It is exactly that, Tomahawk. It is for context for this week's challenge game, which is Dragon Ball Fighter Z, right? I have no knowledge of anything to do with Dragon Ball. Obviously, I know who Goku is,
hmm
and I know the green guy, but literally just because he appeared in the intro to the
Yeah.
cartoon. And that is it. So what what even are the Dragon Balls? I'm presuming the Dragon Balls are actual things, and that's what everyone's fighting over in the TV show.
Basically, yeah. So there are 7 Dragon Balls. Once they're brought together, whoever possesses them can summon. Oh, I'm gonna get shouted at now. Is it Shenron? They call him a big, massive green dragon, and you get one wish.
One
Uh,
wish.
it could be for anything that you want. You could 9 times out of 10, the bad guys want infinite power. The good guys just want to stop the bad guys from getting infinite power, and then usually it means having to use a wish to bring someone back from the dead.
Right. So the bad guys want to be strong as anything. And I'm
hmm
presuming I've seen in the intro, these guys can go like mega powerful, like on fire and stuff.
Yes,
So that's what the bad guys want. And the good guys want to murder them
I think
using
they're
a
just there
dragon,
to. I think they're just there
kill
to
them.
stop them from achieving immortal power through nefarious means, I guess.
Okay. It sounds. I mean, I'm none the wiser. Like, at least I know that Dragon Balls are actual things because I've always presumed that much. I've always presumed that Dragon Balls must be real things. That's what they're fighting on top of mountains and in the air and all this here sort of business. Right. I feel like I now have a grounding in what Dragon Ball Z was. I wish I had it before we played this week's challenge. So, this week's challenge is I mean, every season we do at least one fighting game. This season, I realized this is our second fighting game, if you want to include Brawlhalla in that. So we always try to do something a little bit different. First season was a round robin where we all fought each other. Or no, sorry, it was a tournament where we
It
fought
was
in
a
a
tournament
tournament.
format. Yeah, yeah.
Second season was a round robin where we all fought each other for points. This season's fighting game, we're doing something a little bit different. We're doing winner stays on, first to five in a trio tag match. So basically, we'll have one fight to start it. Whoever wins that one stays on, fights the next person. If they win that one, they fight the next person. If they fight the next person and win, then there is theoretically a chance for someone this week to win five in a row and to be the only person to pick up points. The way we're doing the points for this is every fight you win is worth 1 point. So it could be a whitewash, or it could be the case of all of us
Points
winning
galore.
four
Yeah.
fights and it coming down to the absolute wire. Um, Dragon Ball Z Fighters, we always do this. Have you ever played this before this challenge?
No,
Honestly, now, no
I
lying.
honestly no. I had genuinely downloaded it for place when it came to PlayStation Plus
Hmm.
through a wobbly because I hate the online lobby system.
Okay.
Uh, and then never really played it again until I knew I had to knuckle down and get a bit of practice in because don't have the best history of fighting games on this podcast. So
No, you don't. You don't.
no. So this was my redemption arc. This is my put things right. It's the game and series that you sort of know. So don't let yourself down.
Hmm.
So I think my play stats are really only a couple of hours based on the the prep for this week.
Okay. Okay. Um, my knowledge of this game is that it released in like 2017, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Made
It's
by
not far off
Arc.
2017,
Yeah.
2018. Yeah.
Made by Arc System Works, famous for Guilty Gear. And that is based on the Dragon Ball Z cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's my knowledge of it. I didn't claim it when it was on PlayStation Plus because I had zero interest in the game and the series as a general. I am also not the biggest fan of Arc System Works sort of fighting sort of engine. It looks gorgeous, but I'm not a big fan of it. It's very fast. It's hectic. I find it quite hard to follow. I didn't like Guilty Gear Strive, and that
Okay.
is sacrilegious for someone who's supposedly a fighting game fan.
Purist.
It's loved by everyone except for me. So my play stats for this is less than an hour. I
Yeah.
literally streamed it from PlayStation Plus for the purposes of this podcast. Um, and yeah, me and you played two fights before the challenge begun while we waited for Sherry and Cardinal to join our lobby. And yeah, that was really, really it. I think I may have played like one or two of the story missions. I don't know if you tried the story mode. Did you go into the story mode?
No, I didn't actually. I
Yeah.
just went into the practice lobby and just kind of tried it that way.
The story mode's insane. Like, I'm not even joking you. Before you get into the first fight, so it works like Mortal Kombat, where there'll be like a cinematic, and then you fight, and then another cinematic, and then another fight type thing. But like the
Okay.
cinematics are so long.
Oh god,
They
oh
are
god. And I bet they're
so
unskippable as well.
you can't skip them. But they are. I watched the first one to say, okay, maybe I don't know. I've never watched an anime that I liked. Maybe I'll like Dragon Ball Z. The first cutscene was like, no, this is not for you. um, it's so long. It's so convoluted. Basically, the story is something along the lines of Goku wakes up. He's just been beat in a battle. He doesn't know. No one knows by whom. Um, and that he has. I don't know. He needs to regain something that he lost. I'm presuming it's one of the Dragon Balls. I have no idea. And then some robot dude walks in and is like, "Fight me." He's like, "Okay." It's mad. It's mad. It's pure anime, uh, and it is
Yeah.
exactly what I expected it. But yeah, beyond that, two of the first two fights in story mode, which are tutorial fights, and just sort of tell you to do this, um,
Oh yeah,
and that's it. I think my play stats for this are about 50 minutes, and I would say 40 of them were from last night.
fair.
So I'm going in blind on this one. I know Cardinal has never played this game before. I don't know about Sherry. Sherry kept his cards very close to his chest with regards to Dragon Ball Z. I can't imagine him, if he does, or if he has played it before, if he owns it, putting much time into it.
No, I think he put a tiny bit in maybe at the start when it first came out, possibly, if not when it came to PlayStation Plus, and he's maybe give it a go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he was very. He wasn't giving anything away, to say the least. Whereas
Very
Cardinal
coy.
Smith was very much not just what are the controls, what is going on, which side am I, who is this character, how did I just do this?
Yeah, yeah. That was the theme of the night. Um, I don't have much more to say about this before we get into the fights.
I
As I
think
said, this week's challenge is first to five, winner stays on, and every fight is going to be a 3 versus 3. So let us get to that now, mate. So here we are, Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Winner stays on, first to five, and our first fight is between Tomahawk and Mr. John Sherry. Sherry is on the left of the screen, and Tomahawk, you're on the right of the screen. I would love to
indeed.
tell you what characters you each were, but I only see two of the three on each team, so I'm not even going to start doing that. But the teams will not change throughout the duration of this challenge because them's the rules. Your first fight is. Oh, actually, was it the rules? Because I think I may have changed one of my
We
team
never
numbers.
actually,
Actually, we
we
never
actually
said that.
never, we never stated it. I know you did. You
I
just changed, you
definitely,
just did your own thing willy nilly, like, but
yes. In my defense, I changed my team before going into the first fight of the challenge. And after the first fight, I realized this may have been a mistake without spoiling anything. But anyway,
so 3/4 of the team picked the same team.
hmm yes. Well, we never stipulated those rules.
No, this is true. This is very true.
Usually, we do keep the same fighter, but here, you only live once, man. You only live once, and those Dragon Balls ain't gonna get themselves. But anyway, without any further ado, let's get down to fight number one. Tomahawk versus Sherry. Let us go.
Now, the worrying thing about this was Sherry, like, gives nothing away. Obviously, like Sherry in our live chat, Sherry is text only.
Mm-hmm.
So getting any information from him is quite delayed. But he gave away in terms of his prep. So he was a complete unknown entity, but he's always very proficient in the fighting games.
He is, yeah, yeah. He played a lot of Mortal Kombat X and a lot of Mortal Kombat 11, I think. And he also played a ton of
Okay.
Street Fighter 5 as well, like a lot. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is this game all over. There is a lot going on all the time. Right now, Sherry is on the receiving end of not a bit of a kicking, but he is losing this first round against you. He hasn't called any of his other fighters in. He hasn't called for any. He's just called for an assist. Of course, he has. It's the curse of the commentator. As soon as you say he hasn't done this, that's when it's going to happen. But yes, he's doing all right. He's chipping away at you more than anything else. But he does
That's
seem to
it. He's
have.
like combo breaking more than anything.
Yep, he's getting a lot of counter bonuses. I'm noticing that. But yes, he's definitely played this game before because he knows you can double jump, triple jump. He knows you can slide under projectiles. He knows how to do his assist calls, and he knows when to change character and stuff like that. He's 100% played this game before.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And even it lends a few similar mechanics to even how we played Injustice as well. That like buddy system that they employ, and a lot of the mechanics there are quite similar. You can fake it till you make it in some of these fighting games,
Mhm.
really. But Sherry is 2 fighters down.
He is, and he's on down to his last fighter, who is Cell, who I've never
Hmm.
seen nor heard of before. I think Cardinal asked last night, "Is he the space pope?" I think was his exact word. For the uninitiated amongst you who aren't watching the video, he is wearing a hat quite reminiscent of a pope's mitre, to be fair. And here he goes with his ultra, but missed. But yeah, he is taking an awful lot of damage here. You've still got all three fighters, and you've just knocked Sherry out, which means you've took the first game, which means you are on 1 point. Tomahawk, how did you feel
Extending that
after
lead.
that?
I figured Sherry is always my sort of dark horse. Sherry is such a proficient like fighting game player. Now that I
Mm-hmm.
got him out the way, I felt that I had a good platform to go on to anyway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
So I was quite pleased with that, to be honest, going forward.
yeah, yeah. The next fight then is going to be me versus you because, of course, it's winner stays on. And yeah, this is me just before this fight going, do you know what? These three characters look cool. No idea who they are. Kid Buu is who I'm currently You're fighting as Goku Black. Um, and right now I take an early lead, which I do not recall. But then you've called in Trunks. What a name. That is
That's right.
incredible.
No, I don't know. Once I figured out the tag in and out system, I think it was a bit of a game changer because like their combos and attack breakers and their everything sort of in between can just really disorient your opponent. And if you
Yeah.
can nail a combo just as they're tagged in, you can just jockey and juggle everyone for hits upon hits.
Yeah, yeah. It's a funny one. I struggled all night with the calling of assists and changing characters. Once the challenge ended, I actually looked into how you actually do it because sometimes it works seamless, other times it's not. You struggle. It just doesn't seem to work, and I wasn't too sure why. Obviously, I knew if you were taking punishment, you can't call for obvious reasons. But just sometimes you were both sitting in neutral, and they
Yeah,
weren't calling. And then I looked into it afterwards, and it was actually really quite simple. Hold the back button, and then push your character change button, and then that's what works. So right now you have knocked out. I think it was Super Saiyan Goku of my team. Right now it's Trunks versus Beerus.
hmm,
Beerus. He's like a cat, like an Egyptian
Beerus.
cat. And
Yeah, these are one of the. He's like a god destroyer or something like that. But in the shows, he goes to Earth because he wants to fight the toughest guy in the universe. But really, he just wants a good feed.
oh, okay. I mean, okay.
That's it. Yeah, he ends up finding cake that he likes and doesn't destroy Earth. Like so, it's as anime as it ever gets, really.
Yeah, yeah. This fight's a lot closer than I remember. I just took out Trunks with Kid Buu, bringing us down to two fighters each. And I've brought back Beerus, who is a zoner. Um, and that is not my playstyle at all. So it's not. But it's still relatively close. My character and your character Goku Black is pretty even on the health stakes. And you just put me out
That's it. Yeah.
close, close. But yes, one.
Now,
Go ahead.
it's that animation that they do where like the character launches in, they do their big standoff. It's such a strange thing for the characters jumping in and out, in normal fighting
Mm-hmm.
to have that like random loading screen nearly. It
Mm-hmm.
seems really kills any momentum you have in the game, which I thought was a really bizarre choice.
I'm presuming it is a engine limitation, and they couldn't seamlessly integrate characters coming in and out the screen, kind of like what Marvel does.
Okay.
I'm presuming that's what it is. You have just won that fight, which means that you are currently 2 undefeated, which is
Feeling
quite
good.
good. If you
Feeling
beat,
very good.
yeah, it's now you versus Cardinal. And Cardinal's classic Cardinal. What's the controls? Well, who am I? What am I doing? What is going on? I think were the questions being asked repeatedly throughout.
The second that he got, yeah. The funny thing was though, we switched sides of the screen. He went, "Oh, which one am I? And am I on the left hand side or the right hand side?" And I'm
Yeah,
like, "Come on, Cardinal, we know that by now,
they're-
surely."
it's a fighting game. They work all pretty similar. Now both of you are just sitting there gaining meter by I don't know what that even is. I suppose something to do with chi or something. What is that? The fire around
So
you?
they power it up basically. Yeah. So basically, it's your key, your chi, however it is, but that is like the aura that they generate is like them powering up essentially. So I think you had pointed out in chat is like if you hold square and X,
Mm-hmm.
you'll charge up your power
Charge it.
meter. So I
Mm-hmm.
saw the Cardinals that was doing it. I was like, well, I'm gonna jump on this, and
Yeah.
I charge mine a lot. My characters charge a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
if I can get in quick and get that full, I can start just to knock him back and get my combos in.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you're doing. You just put out adult Goku there. Last night when that happened, I was so confused of what's happened.
Oh,
So
Gohan, yeah.
basically, what happens is you have Cardinal in the corner, you're pummeling him, and then you start your super like fireball type thing. Cardinal jumps over you while you're charging that up, but still gets knocked out. And I was like, how did that happen? But just watching it back there, what happens is that fireball is so powerful, it blows your character back and then absorbs Cardinal in its wake. you
Oh,
you
right.
go back ever so slightly, and because he was right behind you, it you take him into your hitbox. It's actually quite funny to watch. But right now you have taken out 2 of Cardinal's team. He is now Piccolo. He is the green guy. And he's pretty much getting
You had
pummeled.
a lot of problems with Piccolo in the.
Yeah, the practice. I have no idea what sort of character he was. Honestly, don't know what his archetype is at all. But Piccolo has just put down Goku Black. Cardinal has pulled this one back a little bit. So now you've got 2 characters. Cardinal's got Piccolo quite low on health, very low on health, in fact. But he is starting to put together
There was a
combos.
moment. That's it. There was a moment here where we thought Cardinal's just like gonna give up this challenge, and the next thing you know, he rallies a bit because he knocks one of my characters down and then takes me down a few bars of health at least as well. So it was hairy to say the least at the end
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I mean, it was a fairly good attempt at a comeback from Cardinal Smith, who's not known for his comebacks. You know, that was very, very, very good. So
Or his fighting prowess, really.
yeah, so that is the end. We've all fought each other, um, and you have won all 3, putting you into a very, very, very strong position. Keep in mind, this challenge is winner stays on first to 5, and Tomahawk is sitting on 3 at the minute. 2 more wins, and this challenge is over, and you have whitewashed the rest of us. What are you thinking at this point?
No silly mistakes. Just do the same thing and rinse and repeat. Really, I was getting into a good habit of putting everyone into the corners, and as long as they're if they're hitting ranged attacks, I figured the teleport function, or at
Mm-hmm.
least like whatever their swift step or swift move
Yep.
was, utilize that. It may sacrifice a bar of health, but I wasn't using max energy attacks or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. I was just closing the damage and putting in 30 plus hit combos every time. So it was essentially just more of the same. It's quite hard to defend against. The 3 of them are quite varied in their attacking styles, and just keep changing, keep everyone guessing basically.
Yeah, yeah. Yes. Yeah, I actually thought your team were all quite similar. They're all very, very, very similar type of fighter. So it was just hard to keep track of who you're fighting. It's definitely a game that is made for fans. It's 100% made for fans. I
Oh,
think you have to have some sort of knowledge. The learning in this game, it would be quite something because it's got a massive roster. I'm not actually sure how many there are in it, but there's 3 fighter packs, and then there's a couple of like individually sold fighters too. There's a lot of characters in this game. Even the
yeah.
base game, there's a lot.
It's a
Um,
16 roster, I think, base game, and then I
it
think
is,
there's about 9 or 10 unlockables, and then again, as you say, there's a lot
there's
of
2 fighter
transaction
passes.
characters to unlock as well.
Yeah, it's a heck of a game. But anyway,
All right.
right now you're sitting 3, and the rest of us are on 0 because we've all fought you. We've all been beaten. As I said, 2 more wins, and it is over, and we are back to the start. We are back to you versus Mr. John Sherry, and there has been no change in the teams as of yet. But let's get into the second fight and see if you can avoid silly mistakes, and more importantly, let's see if anyone can get points this week. It's not looking very, very
That's
likely
it,
at
yes.
all. Not at all. And here we go. Sherry versus Tomahawk, round 2.
Now, it was quite a focus. Like, these games always just had the Japanese dub and Japanese, like, speech for it. And
Yep.
then Cardinal goes, "Oh, I just switched that to English." It was like, I did not know that was a feature.
No,
I
no,
just
no,
assumed we
no.
had to listen to them in native.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, nor did I. I had
But from
no
what Cardinal
idea.
said, it just seemed to be recycling of like random catchphrases.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what it's always going to be, isn't it? Like, they're going to have set phrases for set moves and stuff like that. I've no idea I've no idea how he found that option, um, or why he was even looking for it in the first place. But here we are. Cardinal
It
Smith
was
being
yeah,
Cardinal
why
Smith things.
why that's the first thing you go looking for. Yeah.
But right now, this fight again, really, really close. Sherry is actually in the lead there. He's just put down Goku Black, um, and he is now sitting on 3 fighters. You have 2, and he's a good old account of himself here. His team's quite interesting. So he's picked. I don't know how I say this guy's
He's
name. Frieza.
balanced it with villains.
Yeah, and the other
Frieza.
2 are Cell
Yeah.
and I don't know, you call it the big, 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 massive pink guy, but a very strong team, like physically imposing team.
Majin Buu.
Oh, is that what he's called? But it's mad because his
His, yeah.
characters don't have much of range, which means he has to get into you, and he keeps on doing that as well. So this was a mechanic I didn't know existed. But if you hit someone hard enough, you can knock that fighter out, as in they leave the screen and their cooldown on their call in is introduced. So he is called Get Out of Here, and he has just kicked one of your characters clean out and the other one. So now you are fighting single handedly, really, for the next few seconds anyway. Um
That's it. It became a bit of a saving grace for me because I think, as we're going to see in a few minutes, he gets my hitbox and my points down quite low,
mm-hmm.
but
Yeah,
then
because
just knocks
he's
me off the map rather than finish me off and possibly take the points. He does that. Get out
yeah,
of here.
there it is there. So set
Just saves me.
yeah, it really did because your second character there is just it was pixel of health. But one thing I'm noticing here as well, I did not know when we were playing it, is when you take damage, your health bar goes a slightly different. It goes different color. Um,
Yes,
it
so
goes
it's
blue and
similar to
red.
what it's like in Streets of Rage. You can rally.
Yeah, no, it seems to be you can't pick it up while you're on, but if you swap that character out, then that character can regain that bit of health but not when they're fighting. I'm just noticing there that you're second character, the wee small guy, was gaining health because he was
Mm-hmm.
off screen. So that's quite interesting. Did not know that was a thing. That would have been useful information to know.
But that that's it. But that get out of here function has saved my bacon in there
Yeah.
because he could have just wiped me out. But uh, he's inadvertently give me the W on that one.
Yep. So you have just beat Sherry there, which means you're now on 4 points. And you're now fighting me. And this is a must win for me because if I don't win this, you're whitewashing everyone and getting 5 points, which means you'll be 6 points ahead of me in the league table. Um, it's not looking good for the high scores, high stakes. Not looking good for me. I can't let you win this one, but I think we've seen you're definitely the most proficient at this game. Um, and this fight is again pretty close. You've just swapped out your first character. He's regaining health. I've just swapped out my character, but I've no health to regain. Um, and yeah, it's all going off. I
It's
am
very
Goku Black.
tight.
You're Gohan, and we're just calling characters in left and right. You're trying to charge your bar. It can't be having that. It's just it's just one of those ones. And I've waited for you to open up, and I've missed. Flew across the
It does
screen.
get pretty chaotically, to be honest.
Yep. It's been chaotic most of the fight, but it's getting there's a lot of teleporting going on, a lot of
I'm
call-ins. There's
like
just
looks like I'm trying to just can't anticipate you teleporting and then it doesn't happen and I'm just kicking the air essentially.
yeah, pretty much. And you called in your character there, and I've got a pretty nice combo on the two of them. Um, and that is the first character loss, and it is your character. That took a long old time, that, to be fair. And now it's me versus you. Your second
hmm
character is now on screen. Very low health. So I'm feeling it. And this is him gone. So that is two characters down.
That's it. No, I think your character switches was a bit of a well needed refresher for yourself now that you've found a bit of form and you've been able to sort of go back to some of the
Mm-hmm.
characters you did practice with.
Yeah.
And I think you're starting to get a bit more proficient with the mechanics and controls as well, which did see coming out. There's moments where I just was like holding the controller, not able to even react.
Yeah. It's one of those games you have to get into your flow. So I've swapped my teams. I think I only swapped one team. I got rid of the cat guy who I didn't really understand, and swapped him for Goku Black. Actually, I think it was my swap character there. So my whole team didn't change, just one character. But yeah, that is it. I have put you down. I didn't lose a character in that one. So you've lost your first one,
No, that was very.
and you're not going to whitewash the rest of the podcast. So Sherry Cardinal aren't here, but they just sent me a text message saying thanks for saving the podcast. That's nice. You're welcome, gentlemen. So after that one, because I've beat
Oh, that's
you,
convenient. It must be in the group chat that I don't have.
yep. It's the group chat that you're not in. So because I've won that one, you're now
Ah,
off the table, which means it is me versus Cardinal Smith. And now we've got rid of you. I think everyone sort of fancied their chances of getting a point here. So I think if I remember this one was a really good fight. It's just a lot of Cardinal jumping around and me trying to get close to him to do some damage. And I got in there with a nice wee combo there. I think it was a 16 hit combo or something. But Cardinal's
that's
doing
it.
a
But
lot of
Cardinal does
jumping.
this incredible thing where he kind of goads you and then he just corners you and then pummels. Like he's pummeled about 3/4, maybe
Mm,
more of your health there.
yeah,
And
yeah,
he's started to figure out the teleporting as well. And just like some bits are trying to click with him. And then he maybe gets a little greedy at times and then he starts to pay for it here.
yeah. Right now, it's really tight actually. Cardinal's done damage to all of my characters, but he hasn't swapped his own out until literally right there now. Um,
Just there now, yeah.
yeah, but he's really holding his own. It's most on Cardinal, like in a fighting game, he is completely taken. He must be feeling the controls or something. It must have just clicked for him or something because he is flying across the screen. He's doing supers. He's doing his character changes in pretty good times. He's getting some really, really, really nice combos in too. And this wee guy is just
That's it.
mad. That is a great character
He's
change, by the
like,
way.
yeah, he's got like quite a flurry. He's like a real flurry of attacks and is quite like, doesn't do tons of damage, but can get loads of attacks in, and that's what
Yeah,
chips away more than
yeah.
anything.
I have just put out his first character, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm glad I did it because he was really quite dangerous. The little hedgehog
Yeah.
guy. Um, but it's Goku versus Super Saiyan
No, it's
Goku.
interesting now because I think he started to realize well that one of the trigger, I think it's right trigger, you can fire straight into the
Mm-hmm.
characters.
Yep. He's just lost his second character there. So I've got all three of my team. He's down to his last one, who's Piccolo. And this move from Piccolo is really, really nice. Like the little fireballs in the sky that home in from behind your character. It's a really, really nice move. Um, but I'm just
Yeah.
launching everything I have at Cardinal because I'm not taking any
Uh,
chances at all. And he's grabbed me from halfway across the
But then
screen.
he
That
has
would be
that like
lovely.
long reach ability as
Mm-hmm.
well, so he can just bring you exactly. Yeah.
You literally reached me from about nearly full screen.
No, it's interesting actually watching this back. It's even watching this, knowing that I was sort of sitting on the sidelines going like, this is the point where everyone can start accumulating points now. And then if
Mm-hmm.
the game carries on like this, now you've just took the win there, but um that could have gone either way, really.
Yeah. But I think it wasn't as close as I remember it. It seemed a lot closer when it was being played. But I had two characters left with pretty decent health on the two of them.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so that is the next round. Everyone's fought each other there again, so that is the next round of three done. Um, you are on 4 points. I am now on 2 points after my victories against you and my decisive victory against Cardinal. So there's nothing more frustrating. When I was watching you just pick off Sherry and Cardinal, I was like, ugh, I'm gonna get one go at this. And there's nothing I can do to stop this. It's a very, very, very powerless feeling. I didn't like it. How were you feeling after you watching me take two wins?
Like that I figured that you had to go basically you've still got to do the full roster again then.
Mm-hmm.
Uh like what can you do? You're sitting hoping that I'm hoping that Sherry can stay on
Yep.
because having to fight you again is the going to be the bigger challenge because you have you had the Octa as well, which I
Yep.
forgot about.
Yep.
You were so you have that kind of the mad click in my ear the entire night. That was a distraction if nothing else. But no, like I'm watching this and you're just done back to back wins and like quite clear cut victories as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think the last thing I want is to go back on and have you be my opponent. I'm very much looking to bag this with no disrespect, but a lesser opponent basically.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
it's that feeling of helplessness, as you say. You're sort of at the mercy of who's going to be next in the lobby, really.
That's it. That's it. It's a horrible feeling as I was sitting watching you, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. I didn't know what to expect from you. Me and you had a couple of really close fights in practice, and I knew our fight was always going to be close. And then that's why after you beat me, I was like, I've made a mistake by changing to these characters, and I should have just go back to the team I was fighting with. And that's what made me. It's what prompted me to change the cat guy for um, Goku Black because he's a mighty, mighty, mighty good
Yeah.
character. But right now, as I said, it is you on 4 points, me on 2 points, and the next fight is me versus Mr. John Sherry, the Derby match, the Derby game. Let's see if I can continue my streak or if Sherry can give you hope by beaten me. Now, I've watched Sherry's 2 fights to this point, and I know he's actually quite handy because I have a feeling he has played this game before. He definitely
It definitely
has,
has. Absolutely has.
because he
Because he
seems.
goes straight in with the assist, with the sort
Hmm.
of energy attack with the assist, and he knows when he needs to use it and when to call it in.
Yep.
So he's not letting on his experience at all.
No, 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 and the fact that he had it, not ready to go because he had to download it, but the fact that he is in his library, I was thinking, this man has played this game. So and after Street Fighter, um, the humbling he gave me twice on Street Fighter, um, I was I wanted to get a decisive victory against him here, and that is his first character down. So I've got 2 characters or 3 characters, sorry. 2 of them are currently regaining their lost health, so I need to keep them out as long as possible. Um, and of course he knocks me out and makes me bring in my character with the lowest health.
That's it.
Um,
No, it's a great wee feature that actually, like, I know it could disorient big time, especially if you have a character that is like looking to regain a lot of health. But
mhm.
um, and it also means that your opponent has to think on their feet when the next character is forced in for them, essentially.
Yeah, yeah, and that's it. It messes up if you have a strategy, it messes it up completely. But right now, it's it's Kid Buu versus
Out.
Majin Buu, and it is pretty close, yeah. And he's just swapped him out for Cell, and his character's got a lot of health there I can reclaim, and I lack the ability to kick him out of the arena.
Now, I don't know if any of you boys noticed it, but there was the R trigger, the kick him out of the map. Right? The right trigger function I thought was quite good because it actually like allows you to close in good space at
Yeah,
such a small tiny like amount of time, and
yeah,
then you could like if you're proficient enough with it, you can chain it with the grab attack and then more
hmm
combos and an energy attack as well. So the combat, like, to its credit, when it works really bloody well.
it's a really good fighting game. It really is. I enjoyed it. I thought, yes, I've treated this one far too harsh. That R2 button allows you to travel through projectiles as well.
Oh, okay. I
Hmm.
did not realize that.
Yeah, I realized that. And what I think it was me and Cardinal. I think there was one where I passed through. I was like, oh, hello. Not the super fireballs, obviously, the prolonged ones, but the actual projectiles. Yeah, it allows you to pass through them. But right now, Sherry is bringing this back. But again, he has me on the ropes. My character's near dead, and rather than taking the kill, he's kicked me out. So he has, and here
And
comes a
allows for them to heal as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
and here he is, just lobbing his like ultras at me left,
It,
right, and
it must
center.
be the classic character because I imagine that Majin Buu is more of a brawler, just given the size of him, especially like his traversal speed across the map is basically a trudge. So I
Yeah,
imagine that's probably something to do with his fighter class. That if he gets a combo in, the first thing he does is just gonna launch them out of the map, and he's done that back to back there actually.
yeah. But it's suited me. He's done it 3 times in a row now, but it has suited me because it's kept my character alive to regain some health, and it allows me to knock out
Oof.
Sail straight into the side of a mountain. And it is now me with 2 characters, but both really low, and Sherry with Majin Buu, and Sherry who has just fallen. So now the scores are 4 to you, 3 to me, and the next fight
Oof.
is me versus you. It's effectively a
This is
winner
like
takes
last chance
all.
saloon now.
Yeah, it's effectively
Yeah.
a winner takes it all. Whoever wins this is likely to win. Well, you will. If you win this, you will win the challenge. If I win this, I am likely to win the challenge because I could win it before you get back on. Um, and it's got off to a pretty good start for the 2 of us. It's pretty close. I mean, it is pretty close so far, but this is where it all went sort of wrong for me. You'll notice I was backing off there, um, trying to swap out characters, and I couldn't get it to work at all. and I was like, I can't get this working.
Oh
I
dear.
couldn't get anything working. Couldn't get my assists, couldn't get my character changes, couldn't get anything. You've just put out my first character there relatively easily, um, and now I'm up against it. My character down really early in the fight. All three of your characters are really high health, and there we go. That's a character change that worked, and now I'm grabbing you, just trying to get everything to get your health down. And I've actually learned how to block here as well.
No,
Very defensive fighting, and it doesn't matter because I try to do
that's
my
it. No, I think that
super. It's just relentless
it's
attacks.
it's that's it. No, I figured just keep on it because I knew that if I can allow you a second into the fight, you're going to start getting any and all combos in at me then.
Mhm.
And I'm constantly keeping an eye on my energy.
Yeah,
Quick dodge in.
yeah.
I'll take it, and it and if you hack prepped, it just
Mhm.
massively disrupts that, and I can get a few more hits in the combos generated. And
Yeah,
like the work's 2/3 done here. I've just got to keep
yeah. That's it.
relatively a cool head here now.
Yeah, you've took out two of my characters. I'm down to my last one. It's my best character. It's Goku Black, but I'm up against it because your other two characters have full health, and you're currently beating me to within an inch of my life. But yeah, but this part there's like this. I have really very little to go on here, just combos, and I'll take one of your characters with me, so it's
Pulled
not
it back, yeah.
so it's not a whitewash completely. But my character has about 2% health. In fact, I have no health because you have just beaten me, which means that is the decisive victory. So
That
it
was a
is.
lovely finish.
Yeah, it's a great looking game, isn't it? It is amazing
I really
looking.
enjoyed it. Like it does like the other games in the series have like this they've tried to do this like heightened 3D version of like the show,
Mm-hmm.
but whereas this one basically looks like it just is just cherry picked imagery
Yeah, but
straight from the game, straight from the show, I should say.
it looks like the show. It looks like the show. But yes, that is the end of the tournament. We'll get to the next section where we'll talk about the tournament, what it does for the league table, and whether or not we will play this game again. So let's get there now. So that is that. Another fighting game and another did not win for Mr. Luvva, the self-professed fighting game aficionado of the podcast. But really, really, really good performance from you, Tomahawk. Well done, mate. Well done.
No, it felt really good. It felt redemption had been achieved in a game that
Yes.
a game that I'm somewhat familiar in with the lore definitely helps, I think, to a
Yes,
degree.
absolutely. Absolutely. It is one of those fan service games where if you have knowledge of the characters, you kind of know what their fighting style's going to be. You kind as long as you know the archetypes of fighting games, you're on the flyer there. Yeah, no, it's let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the game, okay? Gorgeous. It's a
Mhm.
it's a beautiful looking game. Like keep in mind that's a PlayStation 4 title. There is no
It's 7 years
PlayStation
old as well, yeah.
there is no PlayStation 5 upgrade. There's nothing on that. It just looks amazing. I can't believe how good looking that game is. Like I had a fair idea because Guilty Gear Strive is also an amazing looking game. Probably better looking than that, but I can't believe how close it looks to the show. It looks like
Yeah.
it looks like an anime that you're controlling.
No, that's it. Even as you're playing it as well, and it's a big praise for like the performance on the game, for everything that's going on with like the switch of the characters, the energy attacks, your just like the background destructibles as it
Hmm.
sort of happens. There's not a drop in that game's performance either.
No, I mean that game
Everything felt
engine
rock solid. Yeah.
that game engine is well optimized by this stage of the game. Um, I, you said it last night when we were playing the game, and I didn't register with me until I was watching it. There at the bottom of the screen, there's a frame counter, so it's telling you what the delay is. So for those uninitiated, there's two types of netcode for fighting games. There's rollback and there is delay based. So rollback means if there's any lag, the game will predict what the other player was going to do based on the last controller input before the lag spike hit. So the way sometimes you're playing fighting games and the characters jump around the screen a lot, that's delay based. And then they have rollback.
Uh-huh.
So you have delay, which is you lag, you spike, your character will jump around the screen. Where rollback sort of avoids all that and sort of predicts. I know for a fact that Fighter Z released with delay based netcode, and when COVID hit, obviously fighting game tournaments went online, and Dragon Ball Fighter Z was dropped from Evo because of its netcode being really poor. Um, and they promised to put in rollback. I don't know if they ever did. And the little frame counter of delay would suggest to me that they never implemented it for whatever reason,
Okay.
which is interesting. Which is very interesting indeed, because Arc system works are usually really, really good with they promise something, they do it, but clearly they didn't. Like, I experienced no lag, so maybe it's a combination of the two or something. I don't know, but I don't know about you. Did you have any lag or anything? I didn't hear anyone complaining about
No,
lag, so
even
maybe it is
going up
using
against
rollback.
like the streamers and stuff like that as well, it was a really solid performance. I think there was nothing. I don't think there was any one fight watching that back, or even anyone on chat the last when we did that complaining that they were just getting bombarded or having any issues with it. Like, so no, I think everyone had a
Yeah,
fair old time at it.
yeah. So I'm not actually sure what sort of netcode that's using at the minute. It must be. I mean, if there's a delay count at the bottom of the screen. It's clearly delay, but I wonder if there's a little touch of rollback to avoid the spikes. Because as I said at the start, I was streaming that from PlayStation Plus. So I was downloading that and uploading that whilst playing online, and I had zero issues. Zero issues. It's a really impressive game. Really impressive game. Sound wise, the music is extraordinarily anime.
Oh, I could take it or leave it, to be honest. It's so K-pop. That's the only
It's
way I could
it's
describe it.
so OTT. It's just everyone who's ever watched Dragon Ball Z. I mean, I've never watched it, but I'm presuming that the music is all really driving guitar riff
It's like
because
big
that's all
heavy,
that's in this game.
yeah, big heavy metal kind of driving big sexy guitar riffs. That seems to be all my memory from it, at least anyway.
Yes, yes. A lot of the music reminded me of. I'm going to get their name wrong, and people are going to shout at me on the internet. The band that composes the Sonic the Hedgehog music, I think they're called like Crush 44. The music in this game sounds like it came from their greatest hits album. It is all just pumping, driving, like self gratuitous guitar riffs, and it's just
Yeah.
relentless. It is relentless music, but it fits it because
Hmm.
the fighting in that game is just
Non-stop.
relentless. It is. There's just so much going on all the time in it. It is insane. It is an insane game. An insane game. But would you play it again?
Probably for a little bit. I'd maybe just do like the not like a boss rush, but they do like the arcade version where you could just take on more and more tiers of bad guys. Really, I'll probably just do it for a little bit for offline mode, but it's been out long enough and maybe a bit too long to have an input in any kind of online
Yeah.
tournament or any kind of matchmaking that way. Now, I think if you're playing with a lobby of friends, or even if you have it local, it would be a good bit of fun for a while. But uh, yeah, single player offline for a while for me, I
Hmm.
think.
Yeah, I'm the same sort of thoughts on it. I really enjoyed it. It's on sale at the minute. I'm
Six
tempted,
quid. Yeah.
tempted, but I don't know how much time I'd really put into it. As you say, I when I play fighting games, I play online almost exclusively. I don't play. I've no real interest in playing arcade mode. I mean, Capcom were right with Street Fighter Five when they didn't release it with a single player aspect. It was all just online. I have no interest in playing Dragon Ball Z for its story. I don't know anybody. I don't know what's going on. I
That's
have
it. Yeah.
zero
If you've no
context.
knowledge of this franchise, yeah. That's it.
Um, and for all those reasons, I don't know. I'm severely tempted to buy it while it's $6.79 or whatever it is on PlayStation Plus. But I know heart and heart, I'll play Street Fighter way before I play this. I'll play Tekken before I'll play this. I might even play Guilty Gear Strive again before I play this, if only
Okay.
because I can only presume that most of the like community that played Fighter Z are now moved on to Guilty Gear Strive. It's from the same company. It's the same sort of fighting game. It's newer, and
That's it.
I know the player base for Guilty Gear Strive is enormous. It's always one of the biggest sort of entries into Evo and stuff. I think last year it was like 1,700 people entered to play it at Evo, which
Oh,
is
really?
insane.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
this is
So
it. Like, it's one of those games that, like, as you say, it's a fan service game at the end of the day. They have announced that there's a new Dragon Ball Z fighting game coming out in the later on this year, at least anyway. So I will say that once that comes released, Fighter Z will just fall off the
gone.
face of the cliff.
It's
Like that's it.
gone.
It'll be a dead game overnight then.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a good game. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I didn't know what to expect from it. Like,
That's it.
like my feelings on it, but I really, yeah. Like I said, I was like, I wish I picked this up a wee bit earlier, so I
That's
could
it as
have
well.
really
It's
got in
but
the
it's
ground
again,
floor.
it's when you don't have knowledge of the franchise or even an
Mm,
understanding for it. It's like how can you get into it when it's purely a tie-in,
yeah,
essentially.
yeah. But it was good fun, and the
Uh,
fighting model on it was really. I mean, robust isn't the right word for it. It was really good. Like, it's a proper complicated game. It's effectively an 8 button fighting game. You know, you have
uh,
your three attack buttons, you have your sort of blast button, your X fires those wee mini like energy bursts, and then you have your R1, R2 for your special moves, and then you have your L1 and L2 for changing character. It's an 8 button fighting game.
that's
There's a lot going on there. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot of mechanics. There's like recovery mechanics on the ground, recovery mechanics just before the ground, recovery mechanics in the air. It is just there's so much
it's
learning in
far
that game.
cleverer than the game like
Looks.
initially looks at. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And Cardinal Smith, I can guarantee you, Cardinal Smith and Sherry both immediately had it deleted. I can guarantee you.
Yeah, I was streaming it, so I've kept
And
it in my
nothing to delete.
library. I've kept it in the library. You know, you can just remove from home screen. It's still there. I'll probably never play it again, but it's
That's
not
it.
because the game's such low quality. I think it's the opposite. I think the game's really good. I think the game's really properly good, but there's only so many fighting games a man can play, and right now Street Fighter is still my go-to fighter, Street
Exactly.
Fighter 6. So
Exactly that.
with all that being said, then what does this mean for our league table? So the final results were Sherry and Cardinal got no wins, so therefore no points. I got 3 wins, which means 3 points. You got 5 wins, which means 5 points. So with all that being said, the league table going into the final is in fourth place, still Sherry, still on 40 points. Third place, still Cardinal, still on 38 points. Second place, still me, but now I'm on 64 points. And in first place, then, Tomahawk, going into the final, is you with 67 points. So right now, there are 3 points between me and you. One challenge game left. I wonder what it could be. Well, I'm not going to tell you here.
Yes.
I'll tell you in the wrap up section. So let's get there now. So that is that. The penultimate episode of season 3 is all wrapped up. We have a fair wee bit to talk about. So let's get stuck straight into it. So, our challenge game next week is one of the biggest games ever. I think it's the third biggest game of all time by way of sales. It is, of course, the often imitated, never bettered Grand Theft Auto 5. Because it's the final, and because we like to do things, we like to go big or go home. It's the final. We want to make it as competitive as possible. Rather than do one challenge on GTA 5, we're going to do three. We're going to call it the Trinity Challenge. So I'm not going to tell you what the three challenges are because they could be subject to change at any time as we play through. But there will be three challenges in GTA 5. There is big points, as is tradition here at High Scores, High Stakes. The league isn't, there's not a massive gap between first and fourth.
That's
Technically
it.
speaking,
Nothing's.
anyone can win this
That's it.
still. It is
Everyone's to win, basically. It's mine to lose. Everyone else is to win still.
that is it. That is it. We have nothing to lose except you because you're in the lead. You now know my pain of going into a final day knowing that any slip up could cost me everything.
That's it. It's gonna be a big action-packed finale now because we've
I
got
can't wait.
our Trinity Challenge. We've got double points in name that game. We've got our. We will announce our season-long challenge winner as well.
Yep. Yep. I cannot wait. It's going to
Oh,
be packed. It's going to be a
can't wait.
packed episode.
It's what's that? That's 12 weeks of regulation gaming
Hmm.
wrapped up again. Like that feels like no time at all now.
I know. I know it's mad. These seasons fly by, and they're 12 weeks. They're 3 months long. They're 3 months long, and it goes by like that. It is crazy. But yes, this coming Monday, Grand Theft Auto 5, three challenges in one. The Trinity Challenge. Be here or be elsewhere. Just make sure you've downloaded the episode on your phone, listen to it, because it's going to be an absolute class. It's going to be a classic. Everything is up for grabs. The league is up for grabs. The Name That Game League is up for grabs. There's the season-long challenge, which is, of course, worth 12 further points. You know, if Sherry wins that, there's 5 points between you and him.
Exactly.
The league
That's
is
it.
anybody's. The league is anybody's. Um, yeah, we need to do housekeeping again one last time. If you want to catch us on social media or anywhere on the internet, just point your browser at highscoreshighstakes.com. There you'll find all of our links to social media and YouTube. If you want to get caught up before the final with what's been going on in Civilization 6 or season long challenge, get to YouTube. There's a playlist there. Watch them. There's 7 or 8 episodes there now. They're all 5 minutes long, and they will catch you right up, and you will probably have a fair idea who's going to win the season long challenge
Absolutely.
if you do watch them. So please, so do that. As always, like, follow, subscribe to the podcast wherever you are you're listening to it. If you want to leave us a review with a score of what you think we deserve, do that as well. And of course, tell somebody about the podcast. Friends, family, whoever it is, let's grow the community together. Our question of the week for this week. We've just played a fighting game. Cardinal Smith has picked up 0 points. And the question is really simple. We have had 4 fighting games now in 3 seasons of High Scores, High Stakes. Cardinal is yet to win any of them. So the question is will Cardinal Smith ever win a fighting game challenge? So put your answer in the Q&A down below. The funniest answers will get read out. Have fun.
Yeah.
And our poll of the week is, we've obviously just played Dragon Ball Z. So what is the best Dragon Ball Z gaming series? Is it Fighter Z? Is it Budokai? Or is it Kakarot? So again, just down below, just scroll down if you're listening on Spotify and cast your vote. I don't know what the right answer is. I've never played any of them apart from Fighter Z. So you can't get the wrong answer this week, everybody. And with all that being said, Tomahawk, we've done our next week's challenge, we've done our housekeeping, and all that is left for me to say is I've been Mr. Luvva. This has been High Scores, High Stakes. We'll see you on Monday for the finale. Until then, love you all.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.